So this is me Husky, the oil burner. I love it to pieces. It's an old machine, but it really hammers. What I want to show out of this video is that really Plasti Dip removal, but paint or Plasti Dip, you know. I really wanted to find out on the internet whether, you know, Plasti Dip looked alright after 12 months. But I only got to 6 months, so I thought I'd post this video so everyone could get the idea. I used Plasti Dip, just the matte black, right on about 6 months ago, almost to the day. I had issues with my rims. When I bought the bike, they had some sort of stains on them, and it really looked ugly. And well, black's the mod thing now. And after 6 months, have a look. This is the front wheel. There's a few scratches there. Look closely. A few marks here and there, but they're very dirty, and it's very matte and flat. And you know, it's advertised to be matte. And when I first did it, it really looked great. Look at that. Totally awesome, man. But it's sold as a matte finish or a flat finish. And you can tell after 6 months, well, baby, it's flatter than Miley Cyrus's chest, man. Check it out. It actually looks pretty bad. That being said, it stayed on pretty good. There's a few marks here and there. The dirty marks on there really beds in. You can't seem to remove that. That always stays there. I was too frightened to gurney it or to grease it or anything. And the back wheel is a bit worse. Look at the stains there. Those stains are permanent. You just can't get them out. They beds into the Plasti Dip. You don't want to put degreaser or anything like that. The stains will stay there, and because of the chain, and I used a can of cheap degreaser and overloaded a bit, and it started this up here, and you couldn't stop it. And that's a problem with Plasti Dip. With all the stuff you put on your chain, your degreaser or chain lube or whatever, and it just stains like buggery, and you can't put anything on it to clean it off. You basically have to live with it. But having said all that, it's been there 6 months. Really, it's lived up to everything that the manufacturers would have said. It's still on there. It's sold as a temporary solution. It's sold as a bit of a fun, just to change your colours and have a bit of a mess around with it. And I did just want to see if I like the black, and I'd have to say I'm probably happy with the product. It's lived up to everything that the makers would say that would do. But now we're going to have a look at taking the Plasti Dip off and painting the rims. So you can peel Plasti Dip. You see all that stuff on the internet. Just easy, just to peel off. But Shauno's not messing around with that stuff. We're going to get a bit more serious than that. We're going to use regular brake cleaner you can buy anywhere. This is cheap ass nasty shit. And we're going to gurney it, baby. Let's hose on down, hosing down. So we're going to load it up with the brake cleaner. Oh yeah, baby, the Plasti Dip's going to hate that. Back wheel. Oh yeah, Plasti Dip, get that into you. Now let's hit it with a gurney, baby. I'm here one-handed, video in one hand, gurney in the other. But anyway, it's ripping off pretty easy. Check that action. That's just hosing off, baby. Might not have needed the brake cleaner, but just the same, it really did loosen it up. And you can see that I didn't want to use gurney to clean the wheels. You know, I was a bit worried about the stain, so the stains kind of lived on the Plasti Dip. Let's see, here we are, finished. So immediately after the gurney, probably took me only 10 minutes if you're lucky. Just pull this stringy stuff off. Really easy. It could have come off without the brake cleaner, like I said, but yeah, it definitely loosened it up. It was really easy. It didn't harm anything else, so why not? and you just pull this stuff on. I'm not sure about the camera will pick this up, but there's a little bit of the original staining that I was trying to cover up with the Plasti Dip. So, you know, that was my reasons for painting the wheels, and fundamentally I'm happy with the product. It did everything they said it'll do. Yeah, look at that. I didn't have to worry about Plasti Dip getting all over the yard. It was all just easy to pick up and collect up and just chuck it in the bin. Pretty easy to get off. The wheels come up beautiful and shiny, ready to paint, no problem. Let's have a look at painting them. So I've decided I'm going to do a budget paint job on me wheels. The Plasti Dip held on reasonable for what it was. I reckon the paint will be no worries at all. So let's give it a spin. I'm going to use a red scour or maroon, whatever you want to call it. I think green is going to be too harsh on alloy, and if you got one of these little seats, it's going to go a long way in a job like this. So there's nothing really special about what I'm doing here, just a bucket of water, maroon scourer, and a bit of a good old-fashioned elbow grease. Just working your way around. What you're really trying to achieve is just a bit of a deglaze of the rim, really. It's not, and this is where it's gonna flake, if it's gonna flake at all around here. So just a little extra with your fingertips in around there. Work your way right in there. I've chosen to do this the night before, so it's got plenty of time to dry out before the next day. Just moved onto the back wheel now, and when you get onto things like the valve stem, you just give it that little bit of extra to make sure you've got in there, and then leave it overnight, or use an air blower or something like that so that it's well and truly dried out by the time you go to the next stage. So for this you're going to need a roller wide and a roller narrow. And we're going to start with the narrow and just touching it on the tip of each of the spokes. Right where the bulge is in the rim, we're going to get the tape as close to the bottom of the spoke as we possibly can. And we're just going to work our way around. Now when I did the Plasti Dip job, I tore off a little bit of tape and individually did each one. And I thought about this and felt as though this was going to be a lot faster, and I had a lot of problem unmasking it the way I did it previously. So I'm trying to minimize the unmasking job, because the unmasking took me longer than the masking in the end, and my fingernails just about bled peeling it apart. So I'm trying to achieve a little bit of an easier unmask with this job too, all the while minding I'm a bit worried that about a dry spray paint effect. If there's too much of a flap there on the other side of the rim, as you spray the can on one side, I don't want the spoke or to be mirrored on the other side as a dry spray. So I'm mindful of that as well. So we've done that all the way around. So now all we'll do is just do the same thing on the other side. And I found doing it this way, it was a lot easier to get that masking tape very close to the bottom of the spokes than it was peeling an individual piece off. Just work it in there with your fingers a bit. It's a tedious job, but as you can see, it's not taking that long. It's a bit of mucking around, but it's not like it's taking hours. You'll have the whole job done in a couple of hours. Sprayed, masked, scoured, everything. The whole bit. So I'm just sticking one side of the tape onto the other. You could probably get away with just doing it on one side and then flapping it around, but once again I'm just trying to think of an easier unmasking. Now it's all done like that, I'm going to get a razor blade and I'm going to slice in between. I'm going to use a brand new blade, and it's doesn't want to come out, mongrel thing. Anyway, eventually we get there. All I'm going to do is slice it down, allowing enough for it just to pinch together around the spoke without having too much of a flag sticking out. Maybe you could have done this with just not putting the 2 bits of tape on each side. You might have been able to just pinch it around, but I've done it this way, and you just get the wide tape after that, stretch it out. Nothing fancy. I mean, I'm going to be mindful of the angle of the spray when I do it, so I'm not really getting too fancy with the masking. If you take a bit of care with your spraying, well then it doesn't have to be perfect. But if you want to spend more time masking up, that's fine with me. This is just the way I did it, and it should look something like that when it's done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm not too fussed about getting paint on the rim. I'm only going black, and it is a black tyre, and well, it'll be gone the very next time I change the tyre, which won't be too far away. If you have a look at my tyres, they're just about gone. But so I'm just doing this, just using a bit of ordinary cardboard from a breakfast cereal, and I'm making the template the shape of the rim. This is pretty much being filmed in real time, so it's only just taken a few minutes. So once I've marked the paper, I just push hard with a pen so it leaves an indent, and grab me scissors, snip along the indent, and before you know it, you'll have yourself a template just to hold up against the tyre as we go around with the can. The front wheel's a different shape, so I'm going to turn it around and make another template on the other side of the cardboard for that. You can see that's a back wheel, that's no good on there, and I've marked it B for back. So after that's done, we just do a bit of a prep wash, wipe on, wipe off, just to get rid of any residual oil, grease, wax, whatever. There shouldn't be a lot after a good scour, but you would always give it a bit of a wipe over with a basic prep wash. You don't want to put too much liquid on there because it can make the masking tape go really gooey. Now perhaps I should use an etch primer, but I'm trying to keep the microns down. I don't want too many layers. You build up layers of paint on steel to protect it from the elements, but I am on alloy, so I don't have to worry about it rusting. So I'm going to try this product. It is a primer. It says on here that it'll do bare metal, and I'm taking a punt that it's going to have etch primer qualities. I did a test patch. It's about a week old, my test piece. I just sprayed it straight on a bit of wine, and I've invented the Shawno's professional hard man method of testing it to see how it's going to hold up. Cop that. Cop that. Cop that. And it hasn't just flaked off or scraped off, so I know it's mild steel, my test piece, but still I think it'll be right in the alloy. Now give the can a bigger shake than I gave it there. I just showed a little bit. Shake the shit out of it, and never spray your first spray straight under the job. Just have a little test piece and get the feel for the can, and then you go for it. Now the first coat, it's really important to put it on nice and lightly, see through. What you want it to do is just have a bit of a layer on there and allow it to go tacky and sticky, so that the next paint adheres to that. So this is what you would do to avoid your runs. It's in this first coat, just a bit of a dust light coat over top, make it nice and sticky. Be careful not to rub your template on your rim. You'll leave a little mark. Won't be the end of the world, but you know, it's not really ideal either. Front wheel, same thing, just a light dust coat over top. Work your way around. Obviously keeping care that the angle of the can is not going to go everywhere. Now the second coat I'm going to focus on going between the spokes. I want to make sure that this second coat covers between the spokes. That's my main focus. And the third coat I'll go around and just make sure I've got a nice finish on the primary faces. Three fairly light coats in all. I'm hoping to minimise any flaking or chipping by having just enough coats on there to cover the job. At the end of it, just turn your can upside down and spray a bit of air out of it, and maybe it'll be better next time you use it. Just an old trick. Stop it from... This is basically finished now. I'm pretty happy. And this is the unmasking job. It's a total pain in the ass. So in the end, I just go around and slice everyone through with the razor blade, straight through. I go around and do the whole rim, but for the purpose of showing the video, just peel them off. Now this one wants to wrestle with me. They don't all be a pain, but some of them are just mongrels to wrestle with. And the first time I did it with a Plasti Dip, every last one of them was like this. So it has proven to be a lot better masking method this way, because most of these others are coming off a bit easier. It is a tedious, but like I said, the whole job from go to woe, a couple of hours. It's not that big a job. But yeah, the unmasking's a bigger pain than the masking. And there you have it, all done. I think that, you know, if you're looking just to tidy up an older bike, if you wanted to sell it or whatever, or just for the sake of it like I did, because for something to do really, and just, well, my wheels did look pretty ugly. They were pretty stained and scratched up, so I think I've given the old oil burner a bit of a lift. I'm really happy with it. I slapped a bit of tire shine on there just to cover up the overspray a bit, what I did get in the rim, and that's it.
Oh,